refused to pay for my brother's wedding. Days later, he came at me with 5 lawyers and a power. I was 29 when my brother called me about his wedding, sounding more like a demand than a conversation. He said the venue, the catering, and even his suit had blown through the budget, and he expected me to cover a chunk of it. I laughed, told him I wasn't made of money, and hung up. Our parents had always treated me like the spare tire of the family, there to be leaned on when convenient, so it didn't surprise me that he thought I'd pay for a party I didn't even want to attend. A few days later, I was at my apartment finishing up some work when the doorbell rang. I opened it to see 5 men in suits, briefcases in hand, glaring at me. Behind them was my brother, grinning like he'd caught me in some crime. "I see you haven't sent the money," he said, voice too calm to be innocent. The tallest man stepped forward. "We represent Mr. Brother's name. He has legal authorization to recover funds owed to him," he said, sliding a thick folder across the threshold. I picked it up, skimming through the dense legal jargon and a notarized power of attorney that gave him authority over my assets for the wedding expenses. I blinked. "You can't do this," I said, feeling a sinking sense of disbelief. "I never signed anything. I never agreed." "You didn't need to," the man in the center interrupted. "Your brother has secured a power to collect funds necessary for the wedding. This includes bank accounts, wages, and other liquid assets under your name." My apartment suddenly felt smaller. My heart raced as I imagined my savings vanishing overnight. I asked to see a copy of the document. It looked real, official stamps, notarized signatures, but I had never signed anything remotely like it. "You're bluffing," I said, though my voice lacked conviction. The men didn't answer. Instead, they placed folders of documents on my coffee table, pointing out that legal precedent allowed this in certain family disputes and wedding financing cases. My brother leaned against the wall, calm and smug, watching me squirm. I ran through every angle in my head. I had a mortgage, student loans, and bills. Losing my savings would ruin me. I tried to reason with him, reminded him of everything I had done for him when we were kids, of the times I lent him money for school books or gas when no one else would. He smiled, shook his head, and said he didn't need my nostalgia. Hours passed as the lawyers detailed everything they could take, including immediate garnishment of my paycheck and potential liens against my car. I felt trapped, like a cornered animal, knowing I had no real defense without hiring my own legal team, which I couldn't afford on such short notice. Then my phone buzzed. It was my sister-in-law-to-be, whom I'd always liked despite my issues with my brother. She sent a single message. "He's going too far. You don't have to let him win." It was simple, but it sparked something in me. I stood up, took a deep breath, and made a call. Within an hour, a lawyer I trusted walked into my apartment, briefcase swinging, and immediately started challenging the validity of the power of attorney. He argued it had been forged, that I had not consented, and that my brother had used undue influence to coerce a notary into signing. The air shifted. My brother's smugness faltered as he realized this wasn't going to be an easy win. By evening, the tension had escalated to negotiations. My lawyer had filed a temporary injunction against any seizure of my assets, citing fraud and duress. The 5 men in suits looked frustrated, and my brother's grin finally disappeared. I sat back on the couch, exhausted, my heart still hammering. 2 days later, the lawyers returned, not to threaten, but to drop the case. My brother had realized that pushing the issue would expose him to charges of fraud and coercion. He glared at me, muttering under his breath about family loyalty and everything I did for him, before storming out with his fiancée. I sat in my apartment, hands trembling, staring at the mess of papers on my coffee table. The wedding went on without my contribution. My brother tried to post smug updates online, but I ignored them. For the first time, I felt like I had drawn a line, and no amount of family pressure, lawyers, or power of attorney threats could push me past it. I had survived the storm he tried to unleash, and I realized I wouldn't be anyone's ATM ever again.